we are rolling here. We have about an hour of memory on this card with the settings that are currently on. So if we hit like an hour or something in the stream, maybe just like wave me over after a match or something, and I'll come swap it out. We are. Okay. Look at this camera.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dexterity Chase Off 4. We are currently in the women's division. We are about to start. We have the rock, paper, scissors going on. Hello, everybody in the YouTube chat. Please feel free to let us know how everything sounds, how the audio sounds, how the stream looks, and who we're excited to watch. I am your host today, Jake Migliorato, former Knight of Flight in World Chase Tag 4, a part of GNF. And we are here watching some of the best athletes in America duel it out in this year's first competition. In our women's division, we have 4 women's teams. They're going to do a little round robin style, kind of create a bracket of its own. And we're about to get into it for Chase 1. We currently have Crystal starting over by the ridge, going under the mountain. Quick loop over to the tilted cube, getting out of there before a trap is laid over by the lazy boy, running through the front line, keeping some good distance, kind of just in a good cat and mouse chase right now. Again, over under the sisters. This is looking like a good pace for Crystal, able to secure the first evasion in the first chase. That was beautiful work by Crystal. Another very familiar start for her over by the ridge. Again, through under the mountain, over by the tilted cube, cutting back under the mountain. A slide and a tag is made over by the loading bay. Beautiful work there. We move on into chase 3. We have Sage up on the chaser's plate. Again, another very familiar start over by the ridge, cutting through the center court, and Sage just picking up speed and getting the tag very easily. That was beautiful work there. Again, for the 4th chase in a row, we see a ridge start. Cutting over by the ridge, just getting rid of that option. Over by the tilted cube, a little bit of a pause over through center court. Sage is cutting back under the mountain through open line. You're in open waters here. You gotta move up and over the sisters. Stopping over by the tilted cube again. The distance being closed, and a tag is made. It was a bit of trailing there, but if you're quicker than the evader, it works out pretty well. We have Emma up on the chaser's plate. Malia starting under the mountain, cutting back and forth through the tilted cube, through to the front line. Very quick pace. Emma up on the front line. A reach is out, and a tag was made. I believe that was fingertips. Again, another ridge start we have here. Up under the mountain. Stopping over by the tilted cube. Ooh, a very good trap started to get laid there, but Emma able to get away. Back under the ridge. She can stall for a lot of time here. Back through to the loading bay, under the mountain, and an evasion is coming out from Emma there. That was beautiful work. Not allowing herself to stay in any corner for too long. We move on to chase 7. Vortex Polar Ice right now currently up 2-0 against Vortex Winter Green. Emma going to try to double up the points here for her team. Good cut under the mountain. Center court control from Vortex Winter Green. Emma cutting through to the front line, keeping eyes on the chaser at all times. Under the sisters, back over by the tilted cube. Cuts back under the sisters, and Emma able to double up the evasions that she just got. Vortex Polar Ice leading 3-0. Going into chase 8. We are halfway through the first match of this Dexterity Depot Chase Off 4. Emma starting over by the loading bay. Fakes the ridge that time. That's perfect. Goes over by the tilted cube. A reach over the tilted cube. Doesn't quite make contact. Back over by the loading bay. Beautiful Tiger work there. Over through the front line. Keeping eyes on the chaser. Will Emma be able to pull off a hat trick? And she does. 3 evasions. Right now a dominant force, putting Vortex Polar Ice up 4-0. We have Malia up on the chaser's plate as we move into chase 9 of 16. Emma starting over by the mountain. Malia takes center court control, rushing at Emma immediately. Cuts over by the tilted cube. Another sprint across center court over by the ridge. Emma not able to get away, but has she already put in the work that she needed to, putting her team up 4-0. We now have Faith up on the chaser's plate. Malia needs to get some points on the board for her team here. Malia cutting over by the tilted cube. Up on the sisters, a reach is out, but no tag is made. Malia, a lot of distance right now. Faith doing a really good job cutting it down, though, taking center court control over by the front line. It is a sprint across the front line over to the sisters. Little jumping and dodging around the bars over by the tilted cube. Malia able to put a point up on the board for her team. Right now, Vortex Polar Ice lead 4-1 going into chase 11 of 16. We have Malia starting under the mountain. Crystal, the chaser, taking center court control, flushing Malia into the tilted cube. Good juke from Malia. Back and forth. They're just playing a little game of dodging. Crystal makes the tag, jumps up out of the quad. Right now is what Crystal wanted, a very quick tag before any ball can get rolling for Winter Green. We have Emily up on the chaser's plate. Emily cutting through center court. Crystal starting over by the tilted cube. Under the sisters. Jukes back on herself. Jukes back. It's just stalling now. Taking some time. A bit of a stumble. Crystal taking front line control. Not too much work here. Not too many obstacles to really get behind. But Crystal able to just use under the sisters there and the front line to her advantage and stall out enough. And that will be the first match. Vortex Polar Ice leading 5-1. Great work to all competitors. We're going to be moving on to the next match shortly. Again, this is the women's division in the Dexterity Depot Chase Off 4. There are 4 teams in this division, and they're going to be doing a round-robin style match. Please let us know in the YouTube stream who you're excited to see. We have some heavy hitters in both divisions. We have a lot of familiar names, a lot of names that have competed at Worlds, a lot of athletes who have competed in the domestic American series that we saw last year. It is going to be a crazy couple of days, but let us know who you're absolutely excited to see. Looking through some of the YouTube comments, we see that somebody is distracted by the well-behaved dog on the sidelines. Yes, that is Kaya. Kaya is an inaugural member of the Chase Tag team. Will we ever see Kaya on the quad today? It's very possible. It's happened before. We got some shout outs for Amy and Kai. Yes, you're going to see Amy and Kai compete together. They are on the same team today in the open division. It is going to be some chaos in those matches. Our next match is about to start. We have the rock, paper, scissors. Right now, we have Team Anarchy against the Allied Powers. The Allied Powers, we have some international athletes from other Chase Tag teams. We have Allison Lynn starting on the Chaser's plate, taking center court control, over by the tilted cube, taking up over the sisters at a rapid pace, sprinting through the front line, over by the ridge. Right now, Allison is just tailing behind, cutting through the distance, makes a dive, no contact is made, over by the tilted cube, just stalling. And the same fashion as the last match, the first chase will result in an evasion, putting the Allied Powers up 1-0. Somewhere we can see the team roster, it seems like there are some switch-ups. There are a lot of switch-ups. I will try to kind of call out some of the athletes on each team. We have Anarchy up on the Chaser's plate. Can the Allied Powers double up their score? Starting over by the ridge, cutting, juke over by the loading bay. Just stalling over the loading bay, taking the outside route. A lot of distance right now. Able to just kind of gracefully jog on the front line. Another cut in open field. How are they getting away with this? Cutting under the sisters. Jukes again. A tag was attempted, but I do believe... a little bit of conversation there, but it was an evasion. 20 seconds was up. That puts the Allied Powers up 2-0. First two chases. We now have Dara up on the Chaser's plate. Try to get Anarchy in the evader spot. Taking center court control over by the loading bay, juking back and forth. Those are some aggressive jukes, but it's keeping Dara on her toes. Dara with a beautiful dive out of the loading bay, and a tag was made. Great work by Dara, and very quick tag, which is what they need right now. Dara needs to get some points on the board for Anarchy. We do have Ruby up on the Chaser's plate for Allied Powers. Ruby, a local here at the Dexterity Depot Quad, so she is very familiar with competing here. Dara starting over by the ridge. Ruby flushing her out immediately, taking center court control. Dara up over the sisters, over to the front line. Another juke out in open field again. Dara just cruising, making the U-turn back to the front line, over to the ridge. Ruby falling into the trap of just chasing right behind. A slide under the mountain. Dara able to get through, but the tag was made. And that puts the Allied Powers back in the power seat here as we move into chase 5 of 16. We have Allison up on the Chaser's plate. Ruby starting over by the ridge. Cut directly through center court. Allison chasing down Ruby, getting the tag. Very quick, secured tag. This is what Anarchy need right now. You need to keep your players as fresh as possible. But we do have a heavy hitter in the sport, Amy Baldwin, up on the Chasers plate. Amy cutting through center court. Allison faking that she's going to go through the mountain, cutting back and forth under the tilted cube. Amy making her way through the tilted cube, and a tag was made. Very quick work from Amy. I believe we have Bailey Gray up on the Chasers plate. Some stomps. Try to get in the head of Amy Baldwin, but I don't think that is possible. Amy starting over by the tilted cube, just stalling for a little bit. Up over the sisters. Ooh, a quick cutback. Taking the front line, a sprint from Amy. Bailey just waiting to make a move. Chasing behind Amy now, over by the tilted cube. Amy juking back and forth. Under the mountain, over by the loading bay. And another evasion is secured for the Allied Powers. This puts them up 3-0 going into chase 8 of 16. We're at the halfway point. Anarchy, if they want to win this match, they have to make a move right now. We have Allison up on the Chasers plate again. Amy starting over by the tilted cube. Amy with that same juke over by the sisters. Allison a reach out, but no contact was made. Over by the tilted cube again. A lot of time being wasted here. Allison gets a little wrapped up. Amy over by the ridge. It's now a sprint on the front line. Who's the faster athlete? And Allison able to secure the tag. Beautiful work there. Good sportsmanship showed by both sides as well. Anarchy, again, in the seat to try to get some points on the board, and they have to do it right now. We have Julie up on the Chasers plate. Allison starting over by the ridge. Julie makes short work of that ridge start, flushing her out immediately, cutting through the loading bay in perfect fashion, getting the tag. And this spells trouble for Anarchy right now. They have to make a move. Allied Powers up 3-0 going into chase 10. We have Dara DePolo up on the Chasers plate, cutting through center court, trying to flush Julie out of the tilted cube. A very hard juke. Dara takes center court control again as we run to the front line. Julie just faking out in open court. Dara able to secure the tag, though. And we move on to chase 11. We are in the last leg of this match. We have Ruby up on the Chasers plate again. Deja vu of a couple chases ago where it was Ruby chasing Dara. Dara starting over by the loading bay. Ruby cuts through center court. Dara cuts back on herself over by the loading bay, and it's a chase under the ridge to the front line. Who's the quicker athlete? Ruby reaching out a hand, able to secure the tag. Rapid movement from both sides as we move into match point for the Allied Powers. We have Bailey up on the Chasers plate of Team Anarchy. Ruby starting at the mountain. If Ruby gets an evasion, Allied Powers will win. Bailey cutting through center court. Ruby cuts back on herself under the mountain, keeping a decent amount of distance, eyes on her opponent at all times. Just cutting back and forth through the ridge and the loading bay. A swipe is made, but no contact is made. Ruby keeping beautiful distance. Timer is ticking down, cuts back on the sisters. Ruby able to secure the win for her team. And the Allied Powers able to take away the win with 4-0. And there we go, a little bit of lag from everybody, but that was the end of the match. Allied Powers able to walk away with the win. Playing on a team of 3 athletes is not an easy task at all. You will get fatigued almost instantly, and it's very hard to pace yourselves. So going through a full match with only 3 athletes is no short task. Beautiful work from all athletes right now. We are going to possibly take a very small break as we have, I believe, the Allied Powers going to play again. So we need to give the athletes a bit of a break. Again, there are only 4 teams in the women's division, so they are going to be playing pretty close to one another. Stick around with us after the women's division as well if you want to watch the open division. There are going to be a lot of familiar faces, familiar names, some new names as well, as you have some athletes trying to climb the leaderboards and kind of prove themselves. Love seeing new players. Of course, this sport is ever growing. We have more and more athletes, more and more quads, especially here in America, all over the world too. Every year, it's just more and more athletes. The level is rising constantly. And right now, this is the first competition of this year. So a lot of eyes are on these athletes. A lot of strats are getting leaked to people. So, it's, the competition is only going to get harder from here on out. Like I said, we are going to take a short break, give the athletes a little bit of time to rest. Please let us know in the comments who you are excited to see from both divisions. I know we had a lot of Kai and Amy fans out there. We do have a lot of international athletes here today as well. We have the ranked 1 chase tag player, Gavin, here, going to compete, going to see, maybe what can the American athletes bring. But that's all going to be seen in due time. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we are back from our little break. Like I said, we had Kiva up on the quad. I know everybody saw. We are going to the rock, paper, scissors. For our next match here, we have the Allied Powers against Vortex Polar Ice. Nancy says the world needs more chase tag. I agree, and we're trying to bring it to you with these chase off competitions. Next match is about to start in 10 seconds. Allied Powers up on the Chaser's plate. We have Ruby starting on the Chaser's plate. So far, a very dominant performance from every team. Ruby going under the front line, flushing out around the loading bay. A swipe was made. I don't think a tag was made there. Cuts back under the sisters. Doing a beautiful job of Ruby cutting down the distance. Another slide, a reach out, and the tag was made under the sisters. That was beautiful work there done by Ruby. Keeping on the heels of her evader, never really letting her get too far away and able to secure the tag. We now have Vortex Polar Ice up on the Chaser's plate. Try to flush Ruby out. Ruby starting under the mountain, over by the tilted cube. Beautiful cut through the mountain, over by the ridge. Place the stall, but cuts back onto the loading bay. A lot of work on the sideline there. A reach out and a tag was made. The score still remains 0-0. We have Julie up on the Chaser's plate now from Allied Powers. Starting over by the ridge, cuts back to the loading bay, setting up a trap. Oh my goodness, a reach out of that little tiger through the loading bay, and the tag was made. We now have Sage up on the Chaser's plate, trying to get Julie out of here before any points can get put on the board. A start by the ridge. Sage taking center court control. Try to flush Julie out from the tilted cube. A swing, but no contact is made. Quickly out and off of the loading bay, over by the ridge. Cut back on herself. More jukes. We see Julie doing these jukes perfectly. A sprint out in the front line. Sage not able to close the distance, and Julie is going to take the first point in this match. Julie does an amazing job with those very quick and aggressive jukes, really selling the movements that she's doing in each corner of the quad. We move on to Chase 5. Allied Powers up 1-0. We have Crystal up on the Chaser's plate. Taking center court control, Julie fakes going under the mountain twice back to the tilted cube. Again, more of those very aggressive jukes, selling that movement. Over by the loading bay, Crystal reaches out, no tag is made. Just Benny hilling around the loading bay, Crystal not having any of it and able to get the tag. Beautiful work there by Crystal. We move on to Chase 6. We have Amy Baldwin up on the Chaser's plate. Crystal starting over by the ridge. Amy flushing around immediately with a stomp on the ridge. Both athletes under the mountain, and I think Amy just got a fingertip on the shoe of Crystal, and the tag was made very quickly there. We now have Emma up on the Chaser's plate. Amy starting over by the ridge. Stalling for a decent amount of time. Sprints to the front line. Kicks off the wall. up over, striding the bars of the sisters. Emma taking a bit of the high line to chase her down. Takes center court control. Doesn't want to get caught in a chase with Amy. You have to flush her out of corners. Amy takes over under the mountain now. Over by the tilted cube. And an evasion is made. Amy putting the Allied powers up 2-0 as we move into the halfway point of this match. If there's anybody you can rely on to just keep getting points, it is Amy. Amy starts over by the tilted cube, just waits calmly. Juking, trying to keep the chaser guessing. Over by the sisters, cuts back, over to the front line. A lot more of this open space juking. Cuts back on herself again on the front line. Sprints over by the sisters. A lot of work done by Amy. Keeping beautiful distance. Getting 2 points. Scored back-to-back. Keeping the Allied powers in the lead now. 3-0 as we go into chase 9. We have Sage up on the chaser's plate. Sage needs to get Amy out quick and start put points on the board for Vortex Polar Ice. Amy again starting over by the ridge, cuts back, immediately cuts under the mountain, the Dorito cut. Sage just chasing behind her. Slow starting the tilted cube, goes to reach through, second guessing herself. Amy just staying in the corner, not able to get away. I think the thought was there that she was getting tagged, but no tag was made, and then Sage able to secure it. Amy keeping her team in a very good position, though, up 3-0 as we go to chase 10. Match point is creeping up here, so Vortex has to make a move, and they have to make it now. We have Ruby up on the chaser's plate. Another ridge start. Cuts immediately to the front line. Try to create some distance. Ruby staying hot on her heels, though. And now it's a chase. It's a chase. Ruby is right behind her, cutting through to the loading bay. Sage just putting the burners on, absolutely sprinting. Ruby getting caught in the trap of just trailing behind. Another sprint. A hand is reached out, but no tag is made. Sage able to get the evasion. That was a rapid chase there. Great work by both ladies there. Sage able to put a point on the board for Vortex Polar Ice. We now see Julie up on the chaser's plate. Sage might be gassed from that last chase. So can Julie get her out quickly? A Dorito cut under the mountain, over by the tilted cube. Julie making short work of the tilted cube. Reaches through, gets the tag very quickly. That puts Allied Powers in a great spot for winning this match if they continue. We have Crystal back up on the chaser's plate. Julie starting over by the ridge. Julie cuts as if she's going to go to the center court. Backs up to the loading bay. A lot of juking from Julie. Keeps you on your toes. It really doesn't let you set up many traps. Over by the tilted cube. Just idling. Cuts over, up, on top. Makes short work of the sisters. More cutting in open line. Julie does it very well. A dive through the ridge, but no tag is made. Julie puts the Allied Powers up 4-1 going into chase 13. Julie, I apologize if I butcher the last name, Soryu, did a beautiful job there, just juking back and forth at every single corner of the quad. We have Emma tasked with taking Julie down here. Julie, a lot more of those very, very distinct dodge jukes, but it is not enough. Emma able to close the distance on under the mountain, gets the tag. It is now up to Emma. She needs to get every evasion. This is match point for Allied Powers. If Emma gets tagged, they will lose the match. She needs consecutive evasions. Ruby tags with taking her down for the Allied Powers. A ridge start. Ruby immediately flushes out. Dorito cut to the tilted cube. Beautiful work getting her out of the tilted cube over by the loading bay. A lot of quick work. A reach under the mountain, and a tag was made from Ruby. That will mean Allied Powers walks away with the win. with the final score being 4-1. Amazing job from every athlete involved so far. We now have Team Anarchy up against Vortex Winter Green. Now remember, Anarchy is only comprised of 3 athletes. Vortex Winter Green does have one person more than them. Will that prove to be a detriment to Anarchy here? All right. We have the rock, paper, scissors about to go off for our next match. Anarchy against Vortex Winter Green to see who will be the chaser and evader. We have Anarchy that is going to be evading first. Allison, wanted to evade first for her team, but I think they're going to be sending in Bailey to evade. We're noticing a lot right now. I believe almost every single match we have a majority, if not almost all of the chases, starting with the evaders starting over by the ridge. It is a very strong point to start. We have a ridge start, flushing Bailey out immediately, making her cut immediately to the loading bay, not getting caught in a trap. Quick sprints along the front line. Cuts back on herself in the loading bay. Very dangerous spot to cut back. Gets back to the ridge, and it's just a sprint now. And I believe Bailey got caught over at the loading bay. No, did not get caught. They give the evasion to Bailey. Another first match, first point. A little bit of questioning about if the tag was made, but the athletes did confirm that there was no tag made before the buzzer went off. It was very close. We have Malia up on the chaser's plate. Taswit making sure Bailey does not get 2 points on the board. Malia cuts through center court. Bailey under the mountain, but stayed there for just a little too long. Malia able to hunt her down and secure a very quick tag as we move on to chase 3. We now have Allison Lynn of Anarchy up on the chaser's plate. Wants to keep her team with this 1-0 point lead. Malia starting under the mountain. Really making Allison second guess where she's going to go, but she cuts around to the ridge onto the front line. Beautiful pace. Cuts back on herself. Allison not falling for the trap. Trying to flush her out. We move over to the tilted cube. Malia cuts back immediately. Just keeping this rapid pace. Cutting back again. Twice on herself by the lazy boy. Allison threw up the sign for the DTR, but I believe Malia knew she was tagged before the 20 seconds went off. There is a strategy for the DTR because both athletes get to rest. So if you don't call the DTR, it keeps, a chaser and or evader very tired. Allison starting over by the ridge, cuts immediately back to the loading bay, cuts back on herself again to the front line. Makes her way over to the tilted cube, keeping some pretty good distance between her and the chaser, but not keeping eyes on the chaser. She was running a predetermined route in her head, I believe, and gets caught for it. Anarchy still up 1-0 as we go to chase 5. We have Katie evading for Vortex Winter Green. Bailey back up on the chaser's plate. An immediate cut to the loading bay. Cuts back to the ridge. Bailey just makes a reach. Says she made the tag. Maybe it wasn't too obvious for the chaser. Slides under the mountain, gets another tag. If she didn't tag her the first time, she tagged her twice. Again, it is up to the chaser to make the tag as noticeable as possible. We now have Emily up on the chaser's plate. Has to try to get Bailey out of here before she could put another point on the board for her team. Bailey starting over by the sisters. Just casually walks over to the tilted cube. Emily just second-guessing herself a little bit. Bit of a stumble from Bailey over by the sisters. Cuts into the front line. Keeping some distance, keeping her eyes on the chaser at all times. Beautiful distance here as she makes her way over to the lazy boy and able to secure a second point for Anarchy. We move on to chase 7 of 16. Right now, Bailey getting all the points for her team. She looks to put a third up on the board. Vortex Wintergreen throws in Kylie. Kylie immediately takes center court control. Bailey fakes that she's going to go under the mountain. Just stalls on the outside of the tilted cube. She'll stay there as long as she needs to. Kylie cuts down the distance, but just a Benny Hill around the tilted cube again. Bailey able to just get away, a dive under the mountain, and Kylie able to secure the tag. Bailey doing great work for her team, though. Getting a good lead for them. They don't have to worry about too much, but Kylie is definitely a powerhouse on Vortex Wintergreen here. Can put up the points as we move into chase 9. Allison cuts through center, immediately fakes under the ridge. Kylie just stalling around the loading bay. It's a race on the front line. Allison up on top, jumps down. Allison getting caught around the tilted cube, making her way through, reaching, and able to secure the tag. A bit too much stalling there. And Allison able to put them back in a perfect position to get more evasions. Allison has been training over by the Knicks quad out in Atlanta. So she is no stranger to the quad. We have Malia up on the chaser's plate. Tries to flush Allison out of the sisters immediately. A beautiful route to take. Allison goes under the mountain, immediately cuts to the ridge, and it's a chase. Malia does have a lot of speed, though. Decides to break away from it. Go back to center court. Tries to trap Allison over the tilt skew. Allison able to get away from the trap, though. Wraps around to the loading bay and able to secure an evasion. Malia was hot on her heels, but Allison did not stay in any corner for too long and able to get away before a trap was laid for her. Anarchy are now up 3-0 as we go into chase 10. Allison starts under the mountain as Katie is tasked to get her out. Ooh, a reach for the hand tag, but not made. Allison just jogs over by the loading bay. Katie able to reach through the loading bay and get the tag. Great work done. You love seeing those quick moments of hand tags try to get made. It's very quick, but they happen a lot more often than you think. We now have Dara up on the chaser's plate. Anarchy with a very good lead going into this as match point creeps up on us here. Another ridge start. Dara fakes going under and able to get the very quick tag out in the front line. We now have Emily Stout up on the chaser's plate. Another ridge start, as we've been seeing very often from all teams so far. Emily cuts through center line. Dara immediately running over to the sisters, just kind of running the perimeter. Emily goes to close the distance, reaches out, dives. I don't believe a tag was made. Dara with incredible amount of distance. Looks up at the time to see how much she has left. Cuts back on herself. Another dive was made from Emily. Beautiful hustle, but I don't believe a tag was made. And that put Anarchy up 4-0. As we close out that match, Anarchy getting the win over Vortex Wintergreen. Tim Dexter, owner of Dexterity Depot, not loud enough for the athletes to know when match point is, and they're letting him know. Looking back at the comments, everybody's doing great, but I gotta give it up for Anarchy only having 3 players. Yes, Anarchy only having 3 players and able again to just kind of fight the fatigue that is naturally going to happen. Normal Chase Tech teams are up to 6 people, so only having 3 takes a massive toll on the body. We now have Kiva up on the quad. Kiva making short work of the tilted cube, chasing Malia around. Malia gets under the mountain, over by the loading bay. Kiva just stalling, makes her way in, trying to set a trap for Malia. Malia takes a center core. Kiva just a little bit confused on what's going on. Chases down Malia. Kiva getting ahead of Malia, actually. Running on top of the front line, not letting her get away, keeping eyes on her chaser at all times. Kiva, a fan favorite of the Dexterity Depot quad here. A fan favorite, I think, worldwide at this point. We're going to take another small little break here as Anarchy is going to have back-to-back matches. We will be back very shortly. Let us know in the comments who you guys are looking to see face the most. And we are back from our little break. We are going to be moving on into, I believe, the last 2 matches of the women's division. Then we do have a break in between before the open division. It is a lengthy break. There will be a separate stream. So do come by and check us out at around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the open division. But right now we do have Team Anarchy against Team Vortex Polar Ice. We have Allison up, evading first. Sage up on the Chaser's plate. Again, let's remember, Anarchy are working with only 3 members here. Only other teams to really do that are like 2-1-5, and you know it works for them, and it's working for Anarchy. Sage immediately starting, trying to flush Allison out from the ridge. Allison cuts through to the front line, sprinting, cuts back on herself over by the Lazy Boy, which is a dangerous spot. The Lazy Boy is one of the hardest obstacles on the quad to get out of. It is just open. If you cut back at the wrong time, you're going to get tagged. Bailey right now, a powerhouse of Anarchy, putting up a couple points for them in the past. Tasked with getting Sage out as quick as possible. Sage immediately cutting to center court. Bailey putting the jets on and running after her. Sage able to get away, back over by the ridge, just trying to waste some time. I don't think you want to get into a sprinting match with Bailey, but Sage doing great work, cutting in open line, and again, the cutback over by the Lazy Boy does not work out. It is deceptive. You think you have all the room in the world, but it is just open. If your Chaser is on that platform, they have so many avenues of getting you and tagging you. Score remains 0-0 as we move on to the next chase. Bailey over by the ridge, a familiar start that we're seeing. Immediate flush out. Bailey tries to make her way under the mountain. A tag is almost made, but not made. And it's just a sprint off. Bailey with a bit of a stumble, jumping down from that platform by the ridge and gets tagged. Great work there from both athletes. Bailey showing that she obviously has the legs to just sprint and get some distance, and it's been working for her. You gas yourself out a little bit quicker, but if you're able to get away, you have a lot of distance between you. Allison up on the Chaser's plate. A cutback over by the tilted cube. Under the mountain, over by the loading bay. Not letting Allison create any type of traps or get any closer. And it's a chase off in the center court. Allison slides to under the sisters, reaches an arm out, gets the tag. Great work. We have Crystal up on the Chaser's plate. The score remains 0-0 so far. Who will be the first team to just able to get that first point and maybe get some momentum behind them? Calver Hermanax, open division starts at 2. Yes, 2 p.m. EST. Allison starts over by the mountain, over by the loading bay, and rushes to the front line. Crystal hot on her heels, though. Allison with the speed step over the first sister, not able to clear the second, and Crystal closing the distance. Crystal did an amazing job there, just kind of staying on the heels, not letting too much distance get between them. When she saw the moment to strike, she took it, and she was able to secure that tag. We have Bailey back up on the Chaser's plate. Crystal starting over by the tilted cube. Just pausing, a little bit of jukes left and right. Keep Bailey guessing under the mountain, over by the loading bay. Bailey gets caught up in the loading bay just a little bit. Crystal just putting the jets on the front line. Bailey reaching through the Lazy Boy and able to get her fingertips on Crystal. A little caught up in the Lazy Boy as well. Tag was made. We are still 0-0 going into chase 7 of one of these last matches of the women's division. Bailey getting a little bit of advice from Dara on the side here. Bailey over by the tilted cube. Ooh, a slide through the tilted cube. Not able to secure the tag. Center court control, though. Trying to flush Bailey out. Bailey happy with just staying in the front line here with an obstacle between them, but she cuts over by the loading bay. Another slide through the entirety of the loading bay, but no tag is able to be made there. That was beautiful work there by Faith, but she wasn't able to just secure the tag. Bailey able to get the first point on the board for Anarchy. We have Sage up on the Chaser's plate as Bailey gets a little bit of last-second pointers from Dara. Definitely feeling a little bit of the fatigue wearing in, I believe. Starting over by the sisters. Sage wants to flush her out very quickly from there. Gets her to stumble a little bit. And it's a race on the front line. Sage goes to cut underneath, but Bailey saw it. Stopped, juked. Now we're over by the loading bay. Not letting a trap be set. Sage dives, reaches out, gets the tag. Beautiful work. Bailey, though, even as you could see the visual exhaustion starting to kick in, she was still able to execute some pretty difficult and very fast-paced moves there. We move on to Chase 9. We have Dara up on the Chaser's plate. Sage wanting to get a point on the board for her team here. Dara flushes Sage out immediately. Sage goes for the Dorito cut over by the tilted cube. We are paused now up on the tilted cube under the sisters. Sage takes the front line. Pauses, starts to juke, keeping Dara guessing. Those little movements. Dara dives through the lazy boy and gets the tag, though. Amazing work. You see a lot more athletes starting to do these like very little stop and goes just in open ground on the front line, and it works. If you are the chaser and you are up on top of the front line, you're worried about balance. It throws you off immediately. But Dara able to secure the tag there. Keep her team in the lead as we move on to Chase 10. Emma immediately cutting through center court. Wants to cut off half the quad. Dara absolutely sprinting on the front line. Emma chasing behind her now. Tries to set up a trap in the loading bay. Not able to close the distance, though. Back over. Oh, cut on the lazy boy again. We're going to go over by the loading bay. Emma hot on her heels. Dara able to just keep the distance and puts her team up 2-0. Anarchy showing a lot of heart here in their last two matches. Showing even though they only have 3 competitors, it doesn't matter. They're giving it their all. They are playing for 6 people at this point. We have Crystal up on the Chaser's plate. Dara trying to catch her breath a little bit. A loading base start over by the ridge. Dara takes to the front line. Crystal hot on her heels, though. Beautiful work grabbing the bars. Benny Hilling around the lazy boy. She will do this as long as she needs to. It keeps time going, and she escapes it. Crystal with a dive through the ridge, and the tag was made. Amazing work there by Dara, just knowing if she just keeps Benny Hilling around the lazy boy there, it keeps Crystal guessing. She has to chase her at that point. She has to expend the energy. But Crystal able to just dive through the ridge and get the tag. We now have Allison up on the Chaser's plate. Crystal starting over by the ridge. Gonna pause here. Waiting for Allison to make a move, and she cuts to the front line. Allison keeping her eyes on her perfectly. A cutback over by the lazy boy, and we're over by the ridge again. Allison flushes her out immediately. Doesn't want her to waste any more time. It's a race on the front line, and Allison able to secure the tag. Able to chase her down there. Keeping Anarchy in the lead, 2-0. We are on match point. Yelled a little bit louder now from Tim so everybody knows. Match point. If Allison gets an evasion, Anarchy will win. Last second change up from Vortex Polar Ice. We are putting Sage up on the Chaser's plate. Sage needs to get a tag and then get subsequent evasions. We are over by the loading bay. Sage hot on the heels of Allison. Very quick. That is what Sage needed right now. Chasing her down. Now, Sage needs back-to-back evasions to tie it up for them. She can win if she gets 3 in a row. Or I'm sorry, if she gets 2 in a row, we will go to sudden death. We are on chase 14 of 16. My mistake. Bailey tests with getting Sage out of there. Make short work of the ridge. Sage immediately cutting through center court over by the tilted cube. Bailey slow approaching on the tilted cube, but Sage able to get her off of it. We're back over by center court, over by the ridge. Sage just going to wait here, pausing. Bailey has to make a move. She reaches out, gets the tag, arms up, saying, I did it. Amazing work there from both teams. Anarchy able to walk away with the victory there, though. When they need Bailey the most, and she is tasked with either getting evasions or getting tags, she's able to get it done. We are going to be moving on to the final match of the women's division. We have Nancy in the chat say Benny Hilling. That's a new term to hear. So the Benny Hill, I've heard for years now from Chase Tag 4 and on, where you have an athlete and they loop around an obstacle. They call it Benny Hilling. Truthfully, I don't know the reference that they're making, but I know that there is a reference that they're making. You loop around an obstacle probably more than once. You call it Benny Hilling. And it is incredibly hard for chasers to know what you're going to do next. They either have to make the play to try to cut you off or to get into the obstacle and flush you out.
Hopefully it'll work now.
Remember, this is behind for a little bit.
Okay, not sure. Still, I wonder.
We were trying to work out some kinks with the display that you were seeing that showed the team names. Bear with us as we work that out. But we will be moving on to the final match of the women's division today at the Dexterity Depot Chase Off 4. We need a Benny Hilling song for Chase Tag? I agree. Please Google Benny Hill. I'll do that afterwards. We had the rock, paper, scissors go off. We move on to our final match. We do have the Allied Powers, which right now is showing to be a powerhouse of a team. Up against Vortex Winter Green. Again, please bear with us as we are trying to fix the display. I will try to convey what the points are at what time. We have Julia up on the Chaser's plate for Allied Powers. Julie quick to flush out on the ridge and hand tag over by the loading bay. You think those bars are your friends, using them to kind of maneuver around obstacles, but if you leave them back for too long, they're going to get tagged. Something to note, Julie has a massive smile on her face every single time, and I don't think she's tired whatsoever after having back-to-back matches today. We have Malia up on the Chaser's plate. Julie starting over by the mountain. Julie going to cut through center court. Cut off half the court from Julie. Again, those aggressive jukes. Malia not falling for it, though. Taking center control, which is amazing work. Getting up into the lazy boy, but not able to close the distance. Julie going over by the ridge. Not letting Malia kind of cut her off, but Malia reaches out a hand and gets the tag on Julie. What a quick-paced match there. Julie doing everything right, but Malia also making all the right plays, not falling for the trap of trailing behind, just in case you aren't the quicker of the two athletes. She took center control. She was able to cut down the distance. We now have Amy Baldwin up on the Chaser's plate. And for somebody asking in the chat, yes, Amy will be competing in both divisions, as she is pretty much known to do at this point. Amy immediately cutting through center court, giving Malia no time for rest. goes over to the ridge, and a very prominent tag done on Malia there. These matches have been quick so far. We have Amy starting over by the ridge. Katie up on the front line, chases Amy over to the sisters. Amy making short work of the sisters, but Katie closing the distance. Amy takes center court again, absolutely putting the Jets on, keeping a great amount of distance between the two. She cuts back on the front line, but able to get away. Does a Dorito cut over to the Tilted Cube. Incredible quick-paced matches. I was also told to tell everybody that cannot see it on the live stream, but we do have the Vortex Wintergreen team does have sparkles. They are sporting sparkles all over their faces. We can't see it, but they did want me to let you guys know. We have Amy starting over by the Tilted Cube as we move into Chase 5. Malia makes short work of center court. Amy trying to cut back and forth. She runs under the sisters. Pauses over by the Lazy Boy. Malia jumps in. Amy's able to get away. Back over by the Tilted Cube. She cuts under the mountain. Keeping some good distance. Eyes on Malia at all times. But now we have a chase out in open court. Malia closing the distance. Not able to get in range. Fingertips away. 20 seconds runs out. And Amy able to get the evasion. Amazing work. You cannot get into a sprint chase with Malia. She is incredibly fast and will hunt you down. That puts Allied Powers up 2-0. We have Emily Stout tasked with tagging Amy. Amy starts over by the ridge, backpedals over to a Dorito cut that comes out through to the Tilted Cube. Emily just pauses to make a move, trying to get Amy in a trap, gets into the Tilted Cube. Amy able to escape under the mountain, makes her way over to the ridge. She'll wait here as long as she needs to. She'll waste enough time. And a tag not able to be made. Amazing work from Amy. Able to double up the points, having her team lead 3-0. We have Kylie tasked with chasing Amy. Amy pauses over by the Tilted Cube. Kylie gets her way into the Tilted Cube, but Amy has gone by then. We're now over by the loading bay, juking back and forth, not letting a trap be made. A dive under the mountain and a tag is made. Vortex Wintergreen needs something to happen here. They need to get some points on the board. We have Ruby of Allied Forces up on the Chaser's plate. Allied Forces, another team with only 3 competitors on it. Kylie starting over by the ridge, immediately sprints over to the front line. She is running the perimeter. Absolutely chaotic, but so controlled. Speed steps through the mountain, but Ruby able to reach a hand up, not letting her away, gets the tag. Amazing work. You see more and more athletes getting comfortable with speed stepping through the mountain there, not going under it. They speed step through those bars, but if you can stay on them, they have to touch the ground at some point. We have Malia up on the Chaser's plate. Ruby with some last second moves over to the Tilted Cube. She goes through the mountain there. Makes her way around to the ridge. A bit of a stumble from Malia. She recovers nicely, though. Takes center court control. Closing the distance that Ruby just made. Ruby doing a really good job keeping eyes on Malia, though, the entire time. Over by the Tilted Cube. That distance is getting close. A reach out from Malia, and a tag is made. Beautiful work. Malia with that little bit of a stumble by the ridge, but it didn't matter. She was able to recover beautifully. We have Julie back up on the Chaser's plate now. All teams seem to be rocking the sparkles on their face. Malia starting over by the ridge. Julie needs to flush her out immediately. Some jukes back and forth. Julie takes the top of the front line. Stalling over by the Lazy Boy. Some jukes back and forth under the sisters. A dive And Julie able to wrap her arms around Malia and get the tag. Beautiful work there. We have Julie now evading Katie up on the chaser's plate. Julie starting over by the tilde cube. I'm sure we're going to see some of those jukes that we've seen so far. Really trying to sell that she's juking around, but Katie able to hunt her down, not let her get away. The surprise on Julie's face is priceless there. We now have Ruby up on the chaser's plate. Allied forces still lead 3-0 going into chase 12. We're going to be working on match point here soon. Katie has to get some points on the board. Katie makes her way under the mountain, over by the loading bay, but Ruby dives under the mountain and gets the tag in a very quick fashion. We now move on to match point. Allied forces. Emily Stout is tasked with getting Ruby out of here, keeping her team in this match. Ruby immediately darts back to loading bay, takes to the top of the mountain into the tilted cube. Emily doing a good job just kind of keeping her in there, but we race to the center of the quad, immediately flushes her out of the ridge. Emily takes back to center quad control. Ruby making short work of this front line. Emily with a dive, but no contact is made, and Ruby able to secure the win for Allied forces. Again, another team with only 3 competitors, so the fatigue wears in quick, and when it hits, it hits. Amazing work to all competitors in the women's division of Dexterity Depot Chase Off 4. We are going to be resuming at around 2 p.m. EST for the open division. So be here. There will be a separate live stream. I've been your host so far and commentator, Jake Migliorato. It has been nice chatting with all of you. I hope to see everybody in a couple hours as we get to the open division and see the chaos that is going to ensue for that one. I'll catch you all then.